8 years and 4 months. That's how long Ben McLemore will be in prison.
He'll also have to register as a sex offender and have no contact with the victim.
She didn't show no signs of distress or it didn't give me no signs at all.
Ben Edward McLemore III, born February 11, 1993. I've done a story on Ben McLemore before, back when his NBA career had already stalled out and it became clear the promise he once carried into the league wouldn't be fulfilled. But this moment, his 2025 conviction and 8-year prison sentence calls for something deeper. Not just a rehash of what went wrong on the court, but a chance to use his story to show young hoopers what this game can turn into if you lose focus. Fame, money, power, and women can come fast, but understanding who you've become and the responsibility that comes with it that often lags behind. Ben McLemore is 32 years old, a top 10 pick, a millionaire, a father, and still he put himself into a situation that now defines his life more than any dunk, any buzzer beater, or any comeback attempt ever could. As athletes, you have to grow into men fast and stay aware of the rooms you walk into, the decisions you make, and the people around you. All that potential doesn't protect you from real-world consequences when you fail to read the moment or understand what's truly at stake. This isn't about blaming the league or even blaming his past. This is about a pattern. Poor decisions, poor judgment, and poor self-awareness that plagued his career long before this conviction. And that's why we're here, again. Because if you strip away the basketball part, what's left is a man who never quite figured out how to handle the weight of who he was. He never developed the instincts necessary to match his physical gifts with maturity, purpose, or vision. His NBA story ended years ago, but the downfall didn't stop there. He didn't grow, he didn't evolve, and now he's gone from the court to a prison cell for the rest of his 30s and well past his playing days, convicted of a serious crime with life-altering consequences. That doesn't erase what made him a top pick. It just highlights how fragile success is when your mind isn't ready to carry it. So today, we'll go over what made Ben McLemore a bust NBA player, but more importantly, how his story became a living warning for young athletes chasing the dream. The game can take you far, but the decisions you make will always have the final say. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to everyone that's requested this feature. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Ben McLemore was a 6'3" shooting guard from St. Louis, Missouri, known early for his smooth shooting stroke and explosive athleticism. Raised in a tough environment with limited resources, he emerged as a top prospect thanks to his raw talent and work ethic. After bouncing around multiple high schools and prep programs, McLemore eventually landed at the University of Kansas, where he redshirted due to eligibility issues, but broke out the following season. During the 2012-13 college season, he averaged 15.9 points per game on nearly 50% shooting, drawing comparisons to Ray Allen for his form and effortless release. Scouts saw him as a high-upside two-guard who could stretch the floor and run the break, and by the time the 2013 NBA draft came around, McLemore was a lock lottery pick. He was taken 7th overall by the Sacramento Kings, expected to be one of the foundational pieces to their long overdue rebuild, but the hype didn't last. Stunt number 1, one-dimensional from the start. Ben McLemore entered the league with a reputation that didn't quite match the reality of his game. He was hyped as a smooth athlete with shooting potential, but from day one it became clear his tool bag was shallow. At the NBA level, that exposure was immediate. He wasn't a ball handler, he couldn't create his own shot, and he had no feel for how to operate within an offense if the ball wasn't swung directly to him for a catch-and-shoot look. Yes, he was athletic, and yes, his jumper looked good, but even in his one supposed specialty, shooting, he was inconsistent. Over his career, he shot just 36.3% from 3, respectable but not game-changing. He had one year where he hit 40% from deep over 71 games, but those nights were rare and unpredictable. What's worse is that because he brought nothing else to the floor, his shooting had to be elite just to keep him in the rotation. It wasn't. His game lacked versatility, no post footwork, no mid-range creation, no pick and roll reads, and no slashing instincts. He didn't defend well enough to stay on the floor when his shot wasn't falling, and he didn't rebound or move the ball either. The disappointment came early. Watching him operate was like a scorer without the skills to actually score at a high level. Once defenses adjusted and his shot wasn't falling, there was nothing else for him to turn to, and that's what separated him from other young guards who struggled early. Many of them expanded their game, studied film, developed new counters, or carved out niche roles. McLemore didn't. He stayed in the same lane. Wait for the ball, try to knock down threes. That only works if you're one of the best at it, and he simply wasn't. Stunt number 2, never earned a true NBA role. What ultimately sunk Ben McLemore's NBA career wasn't just a lack of skill, it was that he never earned a true role on any team he played for. From the moment Sacramento drafted him, expectations were high, but the direction was unclear. The Kings were rebuilding again, and McLemore was supposed to be an important piece to that foundation. But instead of being developed within a defined structure, he was thrown into the mix and told to figure it out. He never did. He started 55 games as a rookie, 82 the next season, but none of it stuck. His numbers were hollow, his defense shaky, and his shooting streaky. He wasn't efficient enough to be a sniper, creative enough to be a six-man, or locked in enough defensively to be a 3-and-D wing. Coaches eventually stopped trying to make him fit. The rest of his career followed a clear pattern: bounce from team to team, catch on as a low-risk shooter, flash with a few scoring outbursts, back to the bench. Memphis, Houston, the Lakers, Portland. Every stop was another chance, and every stop ended the same. The league didn't give up on him, he just never made himself essential. His best stretch came in Houston in 2020, averaging 10 points on 40% from 3 under Mike D'Antoni. But when the system disappeared, so did McLemore's production. He wasn't adaptable because he wasn't versatile. In a league that defines players quickly, McLemore's label was clear: a shooter who couldn't do much else. He didn't add layers to his game, didn't become a specialist, and didn't offer anything unique that teams could lean on. So when the shots stopped falling, so did his spot in the league. Stunt number 3, poor judgment off the court. Even if Ben McLemore had quietly faded out the league, his story might have still felt like a typical NBA journey. Unrealized potential, but nothing out the ordinary. But his July 2025 conviction for scrape changed everything. Not just because it marked the lowest point of his life, but because it confirmed what had already been the hidden theme of his career: poor decision making. And this time, it wasn't missing a defensive rotation or taking a bad shot. It was something far more serious, with real-world consequences. McLemore was given 100 months in Oregon State Prison after being found guilty of first-degree scrape, unlawful sexual penetration, and second-degree sexual abuse stemming from a 2021 incident at a teammate's party in Lake Oswego. Prosecutors argued that the victim had been incapacitated by alcohol, and McLemore, at 28 years old at the time, made a conscious choice that destroyed lives. He was acquitted of one charge, but the jury still found enough to convict on the others. A 32-year-old former lottery pick now serving an 8-year sentence. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a devastating lack of awareness, control, or accountability. By then, McLemore had already been out the NBA for over a year. His overseas career had stalled, and instead of using that time to reset, refocus, or begin a new chapter, he became another cautionary tale, one that went beyond basketball. For young athletes, this should be the most sobering part of the story. It's not enough to have talent. It's not enough to survive the league. You have to protect your name, your future, and the people around you. McLemore didn't, and now his legacy is sealed in the worst way possible. All in all, Ben McLemore's story is no longer just about a failed NBA career. It's about a man who never truly grew into the responsibility that came with his platform. Drafted 7th overall, blessed with athleticism and a clean shooting form, he had every chance to succeed. But a limited skill set, lack of growth, and poor decision-making slowly pushed him out the league. What came after was far worse. His 2025 conviction didn't come out of nowhere. It followed a pattern of underestimating consequences and overestimating who he thought he could be without doing the work. McLemore had time, money, and second chances, but none of it mattered in the end. This isn't just about basketball, it's about choices. The wrong ones cost him everything the game once gave him. Salute, much respect. But for these reasons, his growth on and off the court was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.